welcome back to, not even welcome back from the trailer and the preview, but welcome to the very first official podcast of the Strong Collectors. Today we're going to be talking about our top 10 figures. The caveat, I guess, being that these are figures that we personally own. If you're out there saying, well, how could you not put this obscure SDCC exclusive? I don't own that one, so I can't say whether it's my favorite or not, but this is our list. You probably have a different list. I think Jordan and I don't know Jordan's list. Jordan doesn't know my list.
True.
I think there's
blind reveal.
There's only one possibility of an overlap, maybe two, but if I know Jordan, I think there's only going to be one possible overlap here. Speaking of that, my name is Dakota Phillips. My co-host, as always.
As always, for the first time.
As always, for the first
Jordan
time.
Fash.
Yep, Jordan Fash, the writer extraordinaire and expert Marvel Legend commentator.
Something like that. I'd like to be. All right. So we just get right into it. So I know we did number 10.
We did the preview, but in case the folks decided to skip the preview and get right into the podcast, we'll go ahead and start with our number 10 and work our way down. My guess is this is going to be a two-parter because our preview of just number 10 ended up being about 5 minutes long. So 5 minutes for all 10 figures. It might be a little longer than one podcast, but who knows? Maybe we'll talk fast on some of them. But Jordan, I'll let you go ahead and go first with your number 10.
My number 10 was the classic Man Spider from the Spider-Man Classics line. I want to say that was 2001, I think. The six-armed kind of Spidey turned into a giant spider monster with a really cool base on it. Should I grab that one? I think I didn't grab that one.
That's all right.
You can look it up. Mine looks just like all the other ones. I think nothing too different about it. But I just think this one was really cool for kind of introducing scale to the Marvel Legends. It was kind of the first time I had a figure could see a figure that I was like, whoa, that one can kind of tower over my other ones. And I think I talked about this a little bit, but kind of introducing that build-a-figure type concept of having a figure that is in scale larger than your other ones. And I always thought that, and I love, monsters and all that kind of stuff. So it was kind of fun wanting a kind of horrific looking monstrous figure. So,
and I think in the preview you'd said that was one that as a child you weren't allowed to get, so you didn't get that one until recently.
No, I recently got it, and I was there. Well, I had to get the figure from someone, and then I had to trade for the base because it's a little tough to find them together nowadays. But
right,
yes. And in your number 10,
my number 10, I have mine here with me. So if maybe we'll upload this to YouTube, maybe we won't. Maybe I'm just saying these things to the audio folks, but my number 10 is the Walgreens exclusive Thing. I originally got this one in a lot. I was expecting there's some in the lot that I wanted, some in the lot that I didn't, and he was one that I thought I was just gonna get quick turnaround and sell. But as soon as I took him out of the box, I fell in love with him. He's substantial, and if you know me and my collecting, I love a good substantial figure. This thing has heft. I don't even have him complete, and I love him. I only have the hands that are on him and the head that's on him. I'm missing the alternates. But I think he can get in some pretty cool poses. I mean, this one compared to other things, I like this costume a little bit better. I like the black and the rock cracks. Just makes him look a little bit more rocky.
right.
As opposed to the newer one. I think I said in the preview, he just kind of looks a little too orange and blob. There's not enough definition there. This one's got some really cool detail and he's substantial. So that's why he made my number 10. So
nice.
do we want to snake this, or do you want to just go, you start everyone and I'll go second?
Whatever you feel is best, my friend.
Right. Well, since I'm talking, I'll just keep on talking.
All right, keep on going.
So my number 9, and I guess we could have had this as a caveat at the beginning too. Jordan's number 10 technically is a Spider-Man Classics. It's close enough to a Marvel Legends. I think if you're in any of the collector groups, you would assume that. And there's some other non-Marvel Legend figures that make the cut as a Marvel Legend.
If someone posted a Man Spider, it would not get taken down.
Exactly.
From, an admin on
right.
the Facebook group. So
the admins would not ban you for that. So in that same vein, my number 9 is Super Patriot from the Pit Build-A-Figure wave. This is one that I got as a kid that anytime I was playing with my figures, I would usually pick out the few that I wanted to play with. He was always one that got pulled for the playtime. And to be honest, I don't think I've ever read a single issue where Super Patriot shows up. Maybe he's in Invincible, but if he is, it's just like there's a picture of him and he's in some background scene. But
right,
along with the substantial figures, I love a figure that has a gun for an arm, and he's got a gun for an arm. So that's why I was always playing with him.
Very specific category.
It is a specific category. I think he kind of reminds me of like if Captain America got in a bad accident and decided to attach a gun to his arm. And
I feel like I remember as kids, we would kind of just make up our own backstory for this guy because we didn't really know who he was. I mean,
that's true.
At least I saw him, and I agree. As a kid, I think I thought he looked cool, but I guess that's the kind of the cool thing about a cool figure is it just kind of grabs you, whether or not you are super familiar with the character or not. Because
exactly, and Jordan will tell me that with all of my collecting that I'll get a figure just because I think it looks cool, and maybe I'll find out more about that figure because it looks cool, or maybe I'll just enjoy the figure because it looks awesome.
Yeah.
But with that being said, Jordan, what's your number 9?
So kind of on the same vein of saying reaching outside of just figures, I do have a Build-A-Figure for my number 9, and it is good old Warlock. Now, I think it's fair to say I also, with Warlock, did a little collecting that reached outside of me having a comic book attachment. So I remember I was going to build, this is one of the first ones I was building, I think maybe second or third, and as an adult, and or as adult as I am. What am I? I'm talking about toys. But I remember building this one and being like, I'm going to sell it. But something about it, and it's not nearly captured in the light here. And if you haven't seen this figure in person, I highly recommend you get your hands on it in some way.
We have a picture of him on our Instagram.
I was going to say, on our Instagram, we have a really cool photo of
shameless
him in a
plug
light
to
box.
the Strong Collectors.
So if you want to check us out, Strong Collectors on Instagram. But it's just really cool detail. Like, I think this is almost like even from an artistic standpoint, like the detail on kind of like the steampunk, mechanical human hybrid. Because this is kind of what got me into reading about Warlock, where he's from, I believe it's like a techno planet of machines, and he's like a mutant on that planet, something to that effect.
Yeah.
But and then there's some kind of storyline where he fuses with a human named Doug, and they become Douglock. So Hasbro, I'm waiting for my Douglock figure next. But this one has, speaking of guns for hands, this one you have an interchangeable hand that can become a buzzsaw, which is pretty cool. And he's just got such a good look on his face. Like
he's got so unique hair for sure.
Yeah, I love like the techno coils. My one critique, it's a little tricky to get these tubes to stay in him. I don't know if you've ran into that.
I know you have. I don't even try to keep them attached.
Right. That would be real, but that's a small gripe in the realm of how cool this figure is and how much I like it. And this is one of the first ones my fiance, when I started collecting, was like, hey, this one's cool. So
that was one of the first ones that my wife also thought looked cool too.
I know. So
Chicks
Something
dig
about him.
Warlock, so
Chicks love Warlock. What can I
single
say?
collectors out there, if you looking to pick up the ladies.
For a lady, you get yourself a Warlock, and there you go.
All right, so continuing with
All
the
right.
snake style,
All
Jordan, you're
right.
up again.
My number, what I'm at, 8,
8
is going to be the classic Toy Biz Beast.
Oh, bringing it into Toy Biz for the
I know.
top 10. I like it.
So this is one of the first ones I think I got as a kid. This is not from the gift pack. This is from, goodness, I need my my Roshan's guide here, but
I've
he was
got it
one of
right
the,
next to me.
oh, okay, one of the first few waves.
I'll look it up while you check.
All right, you look it up. So what I think is really cool, I mean, as a kid, I loved Beast. So naturally he was one of my favorites. But I think the detail on this one, for being as old as it is pretty darn good. Like, I think the tufts of hair are pretty cool. Like, whether it's, I mean, the fact that it's like sculpted on. I think that's what I didn't love about the newer Hasbro one. It's just kind of sleek. Whereas I kind of like that, having the Beast where he's kind of scruffy and he's got a look on his face like he looks kind of beastly, but he also could be,
He's got that articulated jaw,
thinking.
right?
He's got the articulated jaw, so I always thought that was cool. He could, but he could also close his mouth and be thinking about philosophy.
There you go.
And I thought that was great. And I like that he was kind of hunched. I always imagined him a little kind of hunchy, And then he, of course, can point his finger, which is
You got to have the single articulated finger in there.
single articulated finger. So, I mean, I think this one you could still display them. Not all Toy Biz ones. This one can still scale well with more modern legends, and I think that's pretty cool, considering it's, I don't know, what, 20 years old.
Probably at least 20 years or close to it.
So I think that one's pretty cool. So
Nice.
that one makes the top 10.
Yeah, he was the Series 4.
Series 4. There you go.
Series 4.
So pretty early on there. But yeah. All right. Dakota,
so
number.
My number 8, I think might surprise you a little bit, is Ironheart.
Ooh.
So I think this is probably, well, I mean, obviously is my, well, I guess not obviously, spoiler alert, this is my favorite female figure. So all the rest of my figures are dudes. But I think she's got really good articulation, similar to Iron Man. Get her in all the cool poses. She's got double jointed elbows and knees to get all the good poses. Comes with the repulsors, got the smoke effects. Super excited to see what the MCU does with her. But yeah, I think she was just done really well. Moves well, poses awesome.
This is the Ursa Major.
This is the Ursa Major Ironheart. She came in a great Build-A-Figure wave. Might be one of my favorite Build-A-Figure waves of the year. A little foreshadowing for future episodes. But yeah, I mean, I think Hasbro and Toy Biz too has struggled with the female characters and getting their likenesses down. I think with a lot of the male characters, they've got that down to a T pretty well.
Right.
But in articulation and sculpt, female characters have typically been much lesser quality, but I think they did an excellent job on this one.
Oh man, now I'm gonna look like a sexist jerk because I don't have any females in my top 10. Let me go run and grab something real quick. No,
make a quick adjustment.
Right, I'm gonna actually rearrange it. They're all females. No, yeah, that's one that I actually haven't. I think I had.
You had her for just a short bit.
Short
I think you wanted the Build-A-Figure.
I did, and then I did some flipping, but
you didn't give her enough time.
I know. I'll have to check that one out next time we're hanging out. Okay, well, this kind of works perfectly because on the theme of the Ursa Major wave, I also have a Ursa Major figure, if I can adjust this one piece. I wanted it to look really cool when I revealed it. But I'm struggling like an idiot, and this is not working out the way I wanted it to.
I'm pretty sure I know who it is
So
then. Yep.
so this is everybody's favorite evil robot, Ultron. Um, I think I think what's really cool about this figure, I mean, what Dakota and I joke about, there's the old Ultron from the
The Ultimate
Toy
Riders
Biz
wave, I think.
Legendary Riders or
Legendary
whatever, where
Riders. Yep.
he just looks like a big old cat for some reason.
Hmm.
And I remember even as a kid being like, why doesn't he look like Ultron is a design for a character? You just look at him here. It's so simple, but I think it's so cool looking.
I agree.
Like I think this is a figure that they kind of realized it's like less is more here, like he's pretty sleek. There's really not like a lot of crazy stuff going on, but I think they just did it well. I think a really nice touch was the mouth, like flaming particle effect, whatever you want to call that. Um, and I think they kind of cracked the like not making it chrome, like chrome, but it kind of looks like it has that paint job on it.
Yeah, I
Where
definitely agree. The
and
like the
I thought it was an even
simplicity of
cool
him
piece.
is what
Yeah,
makes him so good.
right. Yeah, I mean, I think this is really like I would say the definitive Ultron. Like I
For
don't
sure.
really know how you would improve on this one, just
Yeah.
because like I don't know. I just think he's pretty solid. I think there have been a lot of good villains
Hmm.
recently. I think people have said that, but um I was just really happy to see like a cool classic Ultron
Right.
to add to the collection, and I think it's cool to see them sort of being like, hey, this is pretty simple, but it's pretty cool, and I just think it looks good. Kind of the standout too, because a lot of the villains, you've got your purples and your greens and your reds, and it's kind of a nice like sort of contrast to that. You can do a lot of cool poses too with his alternate
Hmm.
hands as well. So,
Definitely.
well, am I dull? Am I supposed to go again now?
No, that's me now. You
Oh
stole my
yeah,
snake.
sorry.
That's all right. So my number 7 is a build a figure, one that you don't have, but is Caliban. And I feel like a lot of
Mhm.
people would disagree with Caliban being in a top 10, but he's another one that as soon as I got him out of the package, I bought him complete. So I didn't have to put him
Was
together or
he part
anything.
of the lot with the thing, or am I misremembering that?
No, this was one that
Okay,
I think I did some trade or something like that and
right.
got him. I don't even remember how, but he was one of the earlier ones that I'd gotten, sticking with the same substantial theme. He's a buff version of Caliban rather than the skinny version.
Right.
I will say one of his downfalls is his weird fingers. I don't know why they have him posed with like his middle finger slightly above his others, because I don't know when you would ever
Right.
do that.
Caliban's always a little upset to get at the world.
Right. But I think he gets into some really good, like if you get him into some crouching poses, he just like snarling, looks awesome,
Right.
menacing. Um, I'm really hoping that they use this same, or at least a lot of parts from this for a new saber tooth. I think a saber tooth at this size would be pretty cool. Um, but yeah, another figure that I'm not super well versed in, but I remember watching some cartoons where he was big, I believe, and a few comic books, and I think it's kind of in that same like Age of
Mhm.
Apocalypse vein, and that was another wave that I really enjoyed. And yeah, big substantial Caliban, awesome poses, and yeah, seems pretty good quality other than
Using
his
that
hand
word
sculpts.
substantial, Dakota, for our listeners, how do you define a substantial figure?
I would say like he's got to have some weight to him. It's always disappointing when you get like a figure that would be like the Thing size or a Hulk size, something like that, and it's just there's no weight to it because it just makes it feel cheaper.
In a hollow.
You don't want a hollow figure. That's
Right.
I don't want it to feel like it's going to crack like an eggshell. I like them to be a little bit taller. So having Ironheart stand next to Caliban, I mean, she's not even
Let's
up
see
to his shoulder.
Can I see the
So
comparison there? Yeah. Oh yeah, that's a good scale. I mean, he's substantial.
He's much larger. And yeah, I think I enjoy those like poses, like one arm is reaching out, the other one's getting ready to claw, or with the Thing, one arm's reaching, the other one's about to punch. I think those are cool, and those work pretty well with the substantial figures. So
very nice.
All right, so I'm going to go into my number 6.
Right.
Another one that I've had since I was a kid. Another one that got pulled out of the toy box to get played with often. And another one that I haven't read very much about until a little bit more recently. I've read more with him now, but when I was a kid, I'd never heard of him.
Right.
But my number 6 is Zorn.
Ooh.
So I think he's pretty cool. I know you always made fun of me because when you take his helmet off, he's got a really small human head. But I don't know why you'd ever want to take his helmet off because he looks awesome with it on.
Right.
So I think as a kid, I can't remember what the back of the package read, or maybe I'd asked my uncle or something who he was. But I think the way I played with him as a kid was he was Magneto, but like a good version because he's obviously wearing the X-Men outfit. So can't be a villain and wearing that. But then more recently reading some of the newish X-Men stuff, I'm usually always a few years behind everything that's going on currently, but he's in those a little bit more after Cyclops kind of branches out and after the whole Avengers versus X-Men thing. But cool villain, or cool, like Magneto was a cool villain where he could control metal, so I kind of always played him in that way. And then I just think that helmet is awesome. I like the chain design underneath his jacket.
Yeah.
The jacket is loose. He's another one too that I think he's not quite as posable, but I think you can get him into some of those cooler like cross leg floating hand out, pretty cool poses.
Yeah, no, and I think that's cool that when they made him, it was a removable helmet. That's kind of a cool feature, which I guess maybe because at that time, right, we weren't really seeing interchangeable heads.
No,
so that
there was definitely no interchangeable
heads. That was kind of a segue into saying, well, instead of an interchangeable head, we're going to give you a helmet that at least comes off.
Albeit the head underneath it is going to be tiny.
A little teeny tiny head, but I think in the comics it was like Magneto posing as I think it was a little convoluted, and then they maybe straightened it out later on. But
right,
I think your backstory probably makes more sense than the comic story. Yeah. So,
and I mean the actual character Zorn too is pretty cool. Kind of so powerful he becomes like a recluse Buddhist type of guy hiding up in the mountains because he doesn't want to hurt people anymore. So at least that's my understanding. I could be completely wrong also. But moving on to your number 6.
6 is another figure that came out. Well, I think it's supposed to be next year, but technically this year is the Armadillo Miles Morales. Now, I know a lot of people, I think, really like this one, and I understand why. I think because initially I got the first Miles figure I got was the Into the Spider-Verse one, which kind of let me down. It wasn't super, you couldn't articulate very much. I think it was kind of stiff with like the plastic jacket. And then I also had what was the comic one? The comic version,
like the Ultimate Goblin Wave or something like that.
Yes, I believe so. And I got him, and that one also kind of let me down. I don't know. It just wasn't. It didn't quite have the detail that I liked. Whereas this one I think is really cool because it actually has. You can't really tell unless you're holding it, but it's got like this sculpted on, like texture of like the costume and like the webs, which a lot of the Spider-Man figures, and you would know this from having some Spideys too, is a lot of them are just painted on. And I get it. I get why they do that, but I thought this was really cool that they took the time to give this one that like real texture, even like the spider is like elevated. And then of course he's got those alternate hands with like the venom strike, which this just seems to really capture the Miles from the video game, which I think is a pretty cool version of that character. And I really, really enjoyed it. But I think you can do a lot of fun posing with him. The one, I don't know, maybe critique would be in some ways he's maybe a little tall, but other than that, like I think this is going to be a tough, if they're going to do a Miles again, this will be a tough one to beat. But I would like to see them incorporate this style of sculpting on Spider-Man figures. Like, I know we've talked about maybe there'll be a retro Spidey release someday, but I'd love to see a Spidey released that is a classic Spidey that has like the level of detail of this Miles. I think would be really cool.
True. Could make those
he had,
aftermarket
like,
prices a little bit more reasonable.
Right. Something like that. Yeah. All right. So do I go again here?
That was our top.
No.
That was our 10
Oh,
through
that's
6.
our top.
And
Wow.
we've been going for almost 25 minutes, about 20, 25 minutes. So I think we'll probably cut it there. And then we'll come back again for part 2 for our top 5 characters. So if you enjoyed our 10 through 6, make sure you come back around to hear the next 5 characters that we have on our all-time list. Then after that, we're going to be going into the year in review, reviewing all of the waves that have come out this year, talking about some of the figures that we thought really shined, some of the Build-A-Figures we really liked, and maybe some of the figures that we think flopped a little more. And then after that, we've got lots of other episodes planned for you all as well. So until then, stay strong.